No, you didn't catch me looking at dirty pictures. Before radio and TV, a couple might be enjoying looking into this 3D stereoscope for a little parlor conversation, intimacy, and romance. Hi, I'm Zev Halpern, and welcome to the Raw Marriage Show, and thanks for joining us. We have a super show lineup. Tara and Mick Carbo are unplugged about emotional intimacy in the marriage pulse. The It Takes Two players are here, and Dr. Melanie Riccardi, sex therapist, is in the house focusing on orgasms. You know, the big O. So sit back, chillax, put aside that no way, no how attitude, step back from your relationship, and be encouraged while you try on some new ways and means to refresh, rekindle, and recharge your marriage. Here's the It Takes Two players to get us in the mood.
I'm home.
Oh! Yes, you. Ooh,
Hi.
You certainly are.
Doing little dishes.
Hi. Yes.
Bubbles, hey.
Bubbles.
I like bubbles. You like bubbles?
Oh.
We
I like bubbles.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
right upstairs right now is a very hot bath running, and there are bubbles in that bath.
I like bubbles.
How necessary are those dishes?
What dishes?
Right.
Come on. Come on.
Should we even turn off the water?
Come on.
Here's today's Raw Marriage coaching perspective for your consideration. So here's some suggestions for creating a space where emotional intimacy, sex, and even orgasm just might happen and even flourish again, or maybe for the first time in your marriage. Please, if the two of you are ready to tear each other's clothes off, don't let this exercise keep you from jumping each other, not trying to get in front and block that kind of train. This is for those of you who've lost your connection and passion for many reasons of life, and you want to get back and find a way to reconnect. Two prerequisites for this enjoyable exercise. One, find a way to shake off some of the anger and resentment accumulations that are just sticking to you. Put them aside for a while. And two, make sure your grooming's up to date, showered, bathed, clean, head to toe, and in between. First, establish the foundation for emotional intimacy just by being close with each other. Talking doesn't always win the day, so just be with each other in quiet, just the two of you. Sit in front of each other and look into each other's eyes and try to lock on. If you eventually want to get your sexual needs met, try to focus right now on the being intimately with your spouse, not the rolling and grinding of the big event, and we know what that is. After some time, touch each other's face. Take turns. Touch face, ears, lips. Have some fun with this by now helping to remove a piece of your lover's clothing. Each time you do this softly or with some hungry, touchy, pay some touchy or oral attention to the area you're viewing. Take turns now. Take time to linger, maybe with your hand, maybe with your foot, maybe with your tongue. It's up to you. See where this exercise gets you. Mutually pursue anything you want to, whether that's sitting naked across from each other or lying naked next to or on top of each other. For that matter, any way or configuration that makes this trip you both are taking enjoyable. Orgasm and ejaculation are the natural result of sex. Too many times, the experience and the journey of intimacy is lost to the destination of someone's orgasm or faked one. As one of the famous transcendentalist writers instructed, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So have an intimate, sexy trip, you two. Be right back with Mick and Tara Carbo in the Marriage Pulse. Hi, Mick. Hi, Tara. So nice to see you. So
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Always. So today we're going to talk about emotional intimacy. It's this thing that hangs above relationships that a lot of people aren't exactly sure that they have. Matter of fact, in my practice, a lot of times I have people coming in and you'll hear the conversation. It'll be, we need more emotional intimacy. And you'll hear another person go, well, I thought we had emotional intimacy. Do you want me to go get some? You want me to find some?
How much
can
does
I
that
deliver it? How can I deliver it? Because you need emotional intimacy. Well, yes, honey, I need it before we have sex. Well, then I got to get it. I got to find a way to get it. So what do you think it is? What do you think it is, Tara? What is?
That's good. I like this topic. I really feel like it's true connection. Down deep, true, like you know that you're connected, and no matter what, you can say anything, you can feel anything, and you're in a safe environment, and you can get through anything together, and kind of like you're indestructible.
Is it like a lock? It's like you're locked, it's, with each other, like a lock on each other? What's it?
No.
How do you know? How do you know? You just
I don't
know?
know. Yeah. Like, what do you think, Mike?
To me, I think you know when you feel safe. When you feel safe to be vulnerable and to, share things that you have to really trust the other person to be able to share. Trust them to not be angry, trust them to not want to close off and run away and never talk to you again or separate or even just be kind of emotionally separated.
It's kind of a feeling that you're with somebody and you know that you're accepted and you know that you're with that person and the outside world is kind of blocked out and it's about you two. And
it's really freedom from judgment.
Yeah, like there's nothing unsafe to talk about.
Yeah.
So what's the formula? What do you tell somebody when they ask you, how do I get some of this? If you had a friend, Mick, help me get some emotional intimacy because I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I've actually had friends and clients come to me with this question, and really the only answer that I see is practice. There's no right way. There's no right way that is good. The thing that works for Tara and I may not work for you and Debbie, may not work for another couple. It might not work for, two friends that are in a relationship and there needs to be a level of connection and emotional intimacy there. So there are practices that people can go do. Maybe practice having a conversation about a topic that you've never had a conversation about before. Maybe practice telling a secret from the past and see if it kind of holds the litmus test, with the measurement being, no crazy outburst and certainly nothing bad enough happening to make there be like a separation in the relationship.
So maybe a look back into that intimate archives of, where couples began, when they didn't even realize that they were emotionally intimate because they didn't have to find it because it was there.
It was there.
They had it. It was done. They were kind of locked with each other.
Yes, and actually that reminded me too that it could simply be talking about something that actually happened in the past. Just having a few minutes to kind of revel in the glory of like an old vacation that happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or a funny conversation that happened over dinner one night. Those could all be ways that you can generate connection and intimacy on purpose.
I think some couples have it, some couples just don't have it, and they're not going to have it. What do you think?
I think it's more of an intention. You either practice having it on purpose and getting better and better at it,
Definitely.
or it's a muscle that's not exercised.
Yeah, I think it's just like anything else. It's something that needs to be practiced. And I think that if we relate to ourselves or another person or a relationship or anything as sort of a fixed object, something that can't be changed, it just kind of kills all possibility. So I think first that we have to choose that it's possible to create emotional intimacy, and then just by that choice and there being a mutual agreement to do that, again, there could be 100 different practices and ways to get there. But first, it takes a real choice and a commitment.
You definitely need guidelines too, like you were saying, like have some rules in place, like a timeout, somebody gets really heated or whatever, like, you need to have some sort of signal or agreement that like, okay, like we need to take a break from this, or let's pick this up later, or you're getting really mad, so let's come back to this or something like that, so that it doesn't get out of hand and become an argument. Because if it's not practiced and you're not used to it, I can see it, being a challenge, especially at first when you're still getting good at it.
I've seen couples that they seem, one member seems to be longing for it. So it appears it's something that can be neglected. It's kind of, it's a practice that can be neglected and people can feel it. What is it? What do you think that's like?
Sure. We've had that. I mean, Tara and I have been married for 17 and a half, I guess, ish years, right? So
more power to you.
Oh, thank you. and I mean, sure, we've been in the relationship and had a lack of connection and intimacy, and we've had really great, awesome times. Yeah. And you can certainly notice it. I mean, it's palpable, right? Like, it's palpable and noticeable when intimacy is not in the space. So.
Yeah, and I think that as we have grown in our awareness and, him becoming a coach and us learning new communication skills and putting those practices in place, just being in better communication and learning new awarenesses has really helped us be much more close and having that connection.
So what about, we all encounter cynical people, and, there's a lot of cynicism that comes with emotional intimacy. Guys, and I'm sure, Mick, you've heard this before, perhaps in the man cave, sometimes you hear some stuff.
Well, the funny...
she wants this or that. Well, and you can't help but recognizing that in that particular relationship, there's something extremely cynical, and it's coming up.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is, like, you're pointing to men, I think, in general. Maybe not intentionally, but that's how I'm taking it. I think that men are probably the more cynical ones in the exchange, and it's funny because we as men think that it's hard or that it's difficult or we don't know how to generate this intimacy. Yet we do it all the time with with our male friends, like especially football. Right? Football is a great example. Every year there's the fantasy league and the draft and the parties and all these conversations and get-togethers and parties, all of that.
It's a huddle.
It's a huddle.
And it's intimate.
Yeah.
It's an intimate huddle.
So,
and it's loud sometimes,
absolutely.
but it's it's camaraderie, it's slapping, it's all kinds of things.
Yes,
like that.
so I think that if guys in the world who want to learn how to be more connected to their partner were to look at how they are and the things that they do during football season, maybe they can take some things away that they could do in a different context with their significant other.
So maybe that's a good way to explain it, that you
Yeah.
have to start.
We watched the game on Saturday night with some friends, and one of our friends was a diehard fan of a team that was losing, and you should have seen them like nurture him for it. I mean, guys were taking turns like, "It's okay, buddy. Like, we'll get them next year. Like, they were awful. It was so terrible. And I was like, this is great. We got to talk about this
The
on the
intimate
show.
football moment of
It was really
2016.
touching.
Yeah.
Well, another key to that is, like, these guys in particular, they all like different teams. They all root for different teams, and it didn't matter at that moment. It was his game that was on, and they were there to support him.
Yeah.
So,
This has been a great discussion,
Yeah.
and emotional intimacy, clearly it's something people have to try to find, and it's a mystery for some people,
Yeah.
and thanks for shedding some great light on it. So let us know what emotional intimacy is for you and how you set the stage for emotional intimacy in your relationship. Sexpectations coming right up. Here's the It Takes Two players to get us in the mood.
Can I talk? Can I ask you something?
Sure.
It's about sex. You're ready for that.
Listening.
Okay, so it's a good thing. I just want you to make a good thing last longer.
Oh my God.
Not you. I'm sorry.
What?
You're fine. Okay. I just want to say it. Okay.
Just say it.
because I know you want me to. So right when you're doing stuff and I'm about to, get there. Sometimes you just kind of stop. And I think you don't know that I'm not done.
You're not. You haven't all this. Yeah, You're not done. You weren't.
I'm there, but I'm not like. It's like, wee, I'm on the roller coaster, and then it stops at the top. I think that's. It's at the top.
You're not satisfied with.
No, it's not that I'm not
What do you mean?
satisfied. I'm satisfied. Like, there's this. It's good. It's so good, but it's not. It could go longer.
And you said I should just
Make it
you
go
said I'm
longer.
stopping too soon.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad.
Okay.
I'm glad you're telling me.
So what role does orgasm, both he-gasms and she-gasms, play in marital sexual happiness? Is orgasm something that's expected? And does this pressure cause a breakdown in many marital sex lives? Do people resort to masturbation and pursuing their own sexual pleasure on their own? No judgment here. Well, we're fortunate to have a great guest, Dr. Melanie Ricarte, a psychologist and sex therapist, with us to help us get some answers about this sensitive topic. Dr. Melanie Ricarte is a licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist. She's worked with diverse individuals, different races, ethnicities, religions, sexual orientations in a variety of settings. Dr. Ricarte employs a collaborative approach, so clients can work on the specific areas they want help with, such as communication, infidelity, sexual issues, trust, and more. Her practice is in Rockville, Maryland. Welcome.
Thank you, Zev.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for
much
having
for
me.
being here. So I get lots of questions, you get lots of questions, but in your experience, what's the biggest problem you hear about with married people's sexual lives? Is there a number one?
So far, the number one issue that I've noticed in couples is honestly not having enough time for sex. So because of busy schedules, busy lives, kids, moving, whatever it might be, people make sex the last priority in their lives, and even their relationship, their intimacy often comes last when it comes to having so many other priorities.
They're busy, and they can't find the time
Yes.
to have sex. So what about this pursuit of orgasm? What is it? What role does it play in married sexual sex, in married sex?
I think couples oftentimes focus too much on the idea of orgasm. And when couples focus so much on orgasm, they're forgetting all the other wonderful aspects of sexuality. For example, connection, moments where they can be more intimate with one another, moments of sharing and what's called body hunger, where people may be able to just touch one another. So when they're focused so much on orgasm as the be-all and all, they forget all the other wonderful things that can come with a sexual experience.
Can you talk a little bit more about that body hunger? Because I heard that emphasis.
So body hunger is something we all experience as humans. It's the desire to touch and be touched, to feel somebody caress our skin or to do that to somebody else. And that's something that can help us all feel warm and connected to the other person.
So there's a lot, as I mentioned earlier, there's he-gasms and she-gasms. And guys, the lucky ones, discover that they can do this amazing thing, early and, maybe earlier in their adolescence. And it's also part of the evolutionary reality. They want to find, some way to continue the human race, so they need to find a place to ejaculate into. The difference, though, there are big differences, in the occurrence of male and female orgasm. How can you tell a woman how to help, her man, and get involved in his, making sure that it happens, or because he wants that to happen?
Right. So communication is number one. It's key. So if, honestly, because our society is so focused on sex being taboo, oftentimes we don't communicate enough about our needs, our desires, where we like to be touched. And when I work with couples, something I encourage very much is communication. Being open about where you like to be touched, being open about what you don't like, what you do like, being open when you're in the mood, being straightforward when you're not really in the mood and what might get you in a mood. Communication is key.
Right. So you're hearing a lot about frustration, about sexual performance, male sexual performance. I mean, there's an industry beyond the pharmaceutical boom that's going on. What do you tell? What do you say to a couple where that's front and center? That's what's going on. That's the reason why they're not doing it, is because he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to not, get his erection.
And that tends to be a huge issue because anxiety is here and arousal and orgasm is here. They're at opposite ends of the spectrum. When there is anxiety, it's very, very, very hard for somebody to feel aroused. So remove the orgasm as being the end goal, and instead focus on some of those things that I mentioned, intimacy and connection, and that way performance anxiety goes down. The person is able to relax with their partner because they're focused on connection rather than on performance.
So there are lots of kinds of female orgasms. Are there many? How many?
There are. So for every woman, orgasm is different. Some women experience a full body, intense orgasm that the experience from head to toe. Other women experience it more gradually, mini orgasms, for example. And oftentimes some women, or most women, experience orgasm through clitoral stimulation. Many women, if they're lucky to find their G-spot or the partner is, that's another form of experiencing an orgasm, and each of those types of orgasms might be different. So it varies from woman to woman and from person to person.
Do you suggest to women that they might do a little self-exploration so that they can explain to their partner where and how to get the best
I
feeling?
do. And it's not just for women, for men. I think it's useful to understand your body, to know it, to know what causes you pleasure, to take some time either for self-pleasure or to explore it with your partner, to know yourself and to know the other person.
So what's at stake in all this, frustration, sexual frustration to marriage? What do you hear, the anguish that people bring to the office? What kind of stuff are you hearing?
I think one of the biggest things that tends to happen is that lack of connection. Because people are not making time for sex, it usually means they're not making a lot of time for one another. They're not having date nights. They are no longer spending very much time one-on-one with one another. And so people start growing apart. So the lack of sex or lack of orgasm is usually a symptom related to lack of connection more generally.
And what do you tell them?
Make time for one another.
Make
Prioritize
some
your
time,
relationship.
Make some time, schedule,
Yeah.
figure it out, work it out so that it works for both of them.
Right.
Because we hear about we have to make appointments. I have to make appointments for sex. This has been really very informative. Dr. Riccardi, very helpful, and thanks so much
Thank you.
for shedding light on a very serious and mysterious area for both men and women. Thanks
It's
again
true.
for coming in. Well,
Thank
that's
you for
all the
having me.
time we have tonight, so stay tuned for more Raw Marriage coming your way in months ahead. Please join the dialogue. Send in questions and comments, first name and town only. Zev at rechargeyourmarriagenow.com. To connect with Mick and Tara Carbo, check out their website and emails. To connect with Dr. Melanie Riccardi, check out her website. To find out more about the It Takes Two Players, contact Chris Pennick. Here's where to find me at rechargeyourmarriagenow.com. I invite you to find out more about me by taking full advantage of all the special freebies you can download. So please go claim them. Recharge your marriage now. Enrich your marital communication skills. Reconnect for a deeper, more fulfilling relationship. Spice up that marriage and feel the love again. Follow me on Twitter, like my Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and check out my podcast, available free on iTunes. And finally, try some forgiveness if you can. Hug, kiss, touch, talk, cuddle, get out more, laugh a little, say you're sorry sometimes. Remember, we are our mistakes and our successes. So it's okay. We're only human. You can try again. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for the Raw Marriage Show.